Back on the roller. Engine in. Looking pretty good. So now I've just got to start plumbing everything back in, etc. It's not going to be very exciting, and I've pretty much got no fucking clue what I'm doing, so it's going to take me a while because I've pretty much forgotten where everything goes. But I'll just slowly work through all that, get going on it. I kind of have places to start, so that's all cool. But I've still got to get the cross brace in. Gearbox is in as well. As you can see down here. This is all painted up. This is all done. This is all bolted. I cut these bolts down. And this is all Sikaflexed in and then painted up so it looks nice. Let's have a look. I could use a tiny bit more, but oh well. But that's looking good. But I've got one major concern. I'm pretty happy. I've got no more major jobs that I'm worried about at all, I think. But I'm very concerned about this. So I've got a wet patch on here. Looks like it's coming from the heater core, which anyone that's ever worked on a heater core knows they're a piece of shit, and then a piece of shit spot. So I've got a plan to test it first before I go messing with it, which what I want to do is, it's got the lines that go in and off it, obviously. I'm going to try and fill up those lines with water because that could be from somewhere else. I think it's unlikely. So I'm going to try fill it with some water first. Might run this hose off here. That one will either be blocked or not blocked because that's the heater tap. So I'm just going to try fill up the lines of water, get some pressure in it before I go filling it up, putting dash in or anything, or wasting the expensive ass coolant that I'm going to put in it. So the other day I did a big Autobahn run. I've got red, as that was recommended. Concentrate, so I need to water that down. HPR 30. I run HPR 40 in the FC. So, I don't know. I like it, I guess. I don't really care that much, but that's what Pete, the engine builder, recommended, so that's what I run. I've got gear oil, and that's the same, allegedly, for the gearbox and the diff. So, that should be sweet. The other thing was, I noticed these are on sale, and it's a 2.5. You need like just over 2 litres or something, or 2.5 litres for the, no, what was it? Just over 3 litres or something for both. And issue with that being you can't get that unless you buy more. But these were actually cheaper than buying a big bottle, and the small bottles by heaps. So make sure you check your prices when you go to buy stuff, because they were way cheaper, and basically you ended up getting an extra litre for cheaper. So it's just crazy. But yep, looking good. This is looking sick. Interior is absolutely disgusting. I've been cutting stuff and whatever. Oh no, there is one more job I'm not looking forward to, which is pedal box has to go in, and taking them out is shit. So I can only imagine putting it back in is going to be even worse. So that's the one job I'm really not looking forward to, but we're getting there. So engine's in, stoked on that. Battery tray looks sick. There's my noot looking sick. But yeah, just happy, plotting along, getting there. It's good. Gonna check out this stupid water thing. Here's the test rig. Got a little funnel and a hose. This is the hose for that radiator hose. Oh, not radiator hose. What would you call that, mate? You'd call that a heater hose. So it's going into that heater hose, and it comes out up here. You know, I got a little funnel here that's sticky tape just to... I've just spent weeks cleaning this engine. I don't want it to be all dirty. So funnel drops it down there. So just cleaning that up a bit. All these hoses are full of shit, so at least I'm trying to flush it. And then I'm also trying to work out if it is leaking inside, because for all I know, it could be this rubber leaking. Like, this is not great. It was a bit loosey-goosey. This pipe completely rusted off. In the previous episode, the one with the gearbox cleaning, you can see me pull a piece of pipe out. That's that. Then I've got some paperwork inside, just so I can see if it is leaking at all, because paper will show instantly. Who knows what other junk could come out, so at least I'll be able to tell. So that's the point. That's what I'm doing at the moment. I'm turning the heater tap on and off just down here, so that does make a difference, opening that tap. Looks like it still leaks a little bit. I don't know if they're meant to do that. I've got no clue, but it's doing something. So better than nothing. So keep going with this. Hopefully I don't have to pull that out. There's a fair bit of junk in here. You probably can't really see it, but yeah, there's a bit of junk in there, so just keep looking. All right, so I've swapped the taps around to the other way. I ended up taking the tap off. If you watch the episode where I pull the block apart and whatnot, clean it and shit, you see how full of shit the engine was. So all the lines are all the same. So I already cleaned this one. I've cleaned all inside the block. I've just cleaned this one, and that's when I was like, okay, I need to clean the lines again, because this is actually the line off this one, but it still had like rust and junk in it. So I cleaned that out and then thought I'd better clean out the tap just to make sure there's no gunk in it. So cleaned out the tap, cleaned out that short line that goes from the heater to here, and I've been running water through it both ways, and looks like, fingers crossed, there's nothing on here. So that's looking pretty good, because the reason I'm not going straight to pulling the whole thing apart is, in the cleaning episode, you'll know that I pressure washed all this. So the fact that I'm spraying high pressure water all over the engine bay, in past this kind of shitty seal, and then possibly even the fact that this had rusted through, could have been leaking in here. So we'll put it together, we'll keep going along. Worst case, if I'm putting the engine together and then it has to come apart, whatever. We've still got heaps to do anyway, so just going to keep going with it, keep putting it together. I'm going to button all this back up now, because I think it can be. Worst case, I just have to take those two off so the lines can still be run. So yeah, cool. What kind of fancy KE is this, mate?
What's going on, mate?
Whoa, what a fancy guy.
Fancy guy.
Fancy guy. Got the fancy fucking Hachiroku.
Yeah. Mine's like hidden underneath, you can barely see it.
You got sneaky, you reckon?
Yeah,
Why's your radiator say trust on it?
I don't know, it's sneaky. It's just a big oil core.
Did you buy that, or did it come with a car?
No, I bought it.
You're a fucking geek. What's this? I don't know what I'm looking at.
Big
Subaru engine.
Big alternator down there.
What's with the little catch can?
It's oil catcher.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Where's the filter?
No, I don't need it.
Okay. Don't really know what I'm looking at, to be honest.
Yeah.
Fucking, that's a pipe and a half, curvy.
There's a turbo down there somewhere.
Oh, I see. Does the camera fit in there?
Probably not.
This piping's crazy, dude.
Yeah, AVO do some pretty wild shit, eh?
I don't know if you can see this in the video, but it goes up, does a 180, goes down the bottom. Is this like a holeless setup?
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy.
And it's like
Goes
no lag.
in there, no lag, even with all this piping.
Yeah.
And then goes down again. What the, I'm so confused. Wait, it goes in here.
Yeah. In
Comes,
the cooler.
or is that the
That's
intake?
That's the intake, yeah.
Oh, fucking now I'm getting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see where the pipes actually go because the turbo's that hidden.
So this one.
That's good though for Australian-ness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. You barely notice it. Without the
What a
block valve
sicko.
sitting right in your face, you'd almost not really know. And the red intake. It's like,
What's the thing? You could even like airbox it kind of.
yeah, 100%.
Because the airbox on these like is that whole area.
Yeah. Well, this kit is for supposed to be set up with a stock airbox, but they look like ass. So
Cool. Where's the filter? Up here?
yeah, it's up underneath. Up under there somewhere.
I can't see. Can the camera see? I'll look at it later. Probably not.
It's like hidden all the way down behind the pipe over there.
Oh yeah, man. Fucking sicko.
Not
There's a rule though. You gotta do a drift pose if you want to be in my vlog.
Drift pose, what's that?
You know when you watch old Japanese videos and they do a pose?
Like this?
That's not good enough to be a drift pose.
I don't know how to do a drift pose.
It's gotta be funny. You know when you used to watch them and they'd be doing little like dance moves? They'd be all like, ah, da, 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 da. Yeah, that's it. Engine finally mounted properly, all complete. Last video I hadn't done up the engine mounts properly, but now they're done up. And then another thing that was a 5-minute job that took 3 hours. I was struggling so much with this. So this is the cross brace, cross member, gearbox mount, whatever you want to call it. I showed off previously how they're different for the manual. And then I think there's even heaps of different ones for like panel van and all this shit. But this is the auto one. And then I had these a pair, but I had 4 of these and I'm like, oh, these must be for the auto because these had these little rubbers and they were stuck on there. You can see that in the cleaning video, they're still stuck on. And then I had these ones, which I thought were manual. Right, so I've got 4 of them. But turns out they're all for the auto because autos are so fancy and cool that they get 4 isolation rubbers and the manual gets none. So the manual's hard mounted. There is, of course, a mount in the middle, which is rubber. But, so that bolt's on there. And then that bolt's hard to the chassis, which, in my opinion, is cool because you don't want your manual flopping around. But, show me here. I'm filming this just for reference. If anyone ever needs info on this, this might help someone out. I spent ages trying to work it out. So what happens, you've got a rubber on each side. So say that one goes under there or vice versa, either way. The other one's the top because it's got lines on it. This goes on there and like seals that to the brace. Then this has the indentation from that. And that goes on there like that. And then the big bolt goes through there to the chassis. So you can see the line there of where the chassis goes. And that's it. It's pretty simple, but I spent like 2 or 3 hours trying to work it out. Thought these were manuals and I'm like, where's the, like I thought that was for the bolt and then that was for the, some other bolt, I don't fucking know. But it's mounted. Manual gearbox in, engine in, very nice. Once again, shout out Mitch. Coming through with the Facebook Messenger messages. Help me sort it out. Because some stuff in this fucking book, which is amazing and shows you so many things like how to paint the car and shows you how to, if your paint's too runny and you're getting runs in your paint, but doesn't tell you how to put the gearbox in or shit like that. So, worked it out. Thanks, Mitch. I'm just chilling under me car. Does this mean it's a manual now? Looks like manual to me. Pretty good. Here's the gearbox mount I talked about before. So solid mounted, mounts like this. KEs are kind of cool. They actually have both the gearbox mounts here, unlike RX-7s and other various cars that have different auto mounts. So there's the old unused auto mounts there and there. What else? I gotta do something with this obviously because for one, it's on the wrong side. And 2, I don't know. So sort that out. Some wiring hanging down, but yeah, that's in. That's all I've got time for today. Pretty cool. So next thing I want to chuck on the exhaust. It goes up there. Actually, might do that last. That might be a good idea because it'll get in the way. But yeah, pretty cool. It's in. It's a manual. Got no selector, but pretty cool. Okay, goodbye. Interesting little factoid. I was just like, where the hell? What is the deal with this thing just floating around? Fuse box or whatever it is. I'm like, what does it mount to? And then I was like, oh, I flipped it over. Interesting kind of brace on the back. If you can see that, yeah. I'm like, oh, actually, you know what it kind of looks like? The battery brace, which looks like that, has a little hook on it. And that is actually what it is. So, slides up like that, pretty cool. That hooks into the battery tray like that. There's a slot down there, which I actually straightened out a little bit. Yeah, I just thought that was quite interesting. I've never noticed anything like that before. And I don't even know if that was hooked up when I took it apart or what, but I've never seen anything like that. But check this out. Whoa, monos. That is what the car's going to be doing when this almighty 4K is running. It's going to be popping wheelies because it's going to be that sick. It's going to be that powerful. It's just going to blaze them or lift them. Yeah, exactly. Just wait. Engine in, gearbox in, drive shaft in. So now I'm at the point of just starting to bolt stuff together, put all this junk on. So I'm not probably going to film much of this, to be honest, but just start plumbing everything in, putting all the bits back on, and then testing a few things. But we're going to start off with the exhaust, and I have to fix the diff and paint some things, so that's maybe what I want to start with, so it's just done. But yeah, but then, oh, the one thing I'm not looking forward to, pedal box. So maybe try to do that, I guess. So continuing on from my chat with Mitch, I've noticed a few more differences between the manual and the auto. So Speedo cables are different completely. Auto one actually interestingly has a plastic end and the manual is metal. So that I thought was interesting because everything else with the auto seems better. Mitch was saying that the auto was a much more expensive option, so they spent a lot more money on it by the looks of it, including the dampeners or the rubbers that go under the brace. Yeah, so I thought it was interesting that these are different as well, but the auto one is a lot longer, so they're almost lined up at the top. Then you've got all this extra, so you can see how much longer that is. So it's a lot longer. The manual just has a little clip here that folds up around it, whereas the automatic has this nice plated metal bracket that holds the cable up. So that's kind of interesting. And yeah, anything else interesting to tell you? Don't know, just keep going. Keep plotting along. I've just realised maybe I put that on backwards, I don't know. There's a lot of stuff in here, to be honest. I just had to take these bolts back out on the center yoke, whatever it is. I didn't realise there was supposed to be a big washer on top as well, which I worked out because it had squares marked on it from where it's been installed before. So I just undid them and put them back in. So it's looking good. Yeah, slowly getting there. Laying under the car is always fun. But yeah, cool. So here's the metal bracket I was talking about that holds up the Speedo cable. So it's like a full, nice little handmade, no, not handmade. Nice little bent up bracket and all that, protects it and holds it up in the spot. 2 bolts in it, different for some reason, but yeah, just interesting. So much weird shit. Another small thing that I find interesting, no one else might, but for the auto, you have these little fingers and they're actually painted like this, and then once they're folded down, they're not painted underneath, which is, I thought was interesting, and then they bend around. So for the auto, you can see them just sitting there, but as far as I know, they're not used on the manual. But there's one there and one over here. And like I'm saying with this manual stuff, I checked the other shell and it looks like there's nothing else that holds up the cable for the manual. Like there's no brackets down here unless I've lost it off the other car, but it just seems to hang out. I don't know if it goes in here or out here yet, but out here probably makes a little bit more sense to me because it's out of the way. That's the auto one to go. So push that out. It might loop down there, I'm not quite sure yet, but it's got this little rubber, but I'm pulled that all the way down just so it can go in as far as it needs, and I'll push that back up later. But I still got to get on the interior, but I'm going to do that once I finish with all the stuff I'm doing underneath. But yeah, cool, getting there. I just thought that was interesting. Might even quickly go check the other car, but just lots of interesting little changes. And yeah, don't know, can cut this bit out. FC still looking sad. Don't have time for that right now. Really trying to get this Corolla going, which would be cool. But yeah, you can see here those brackets haven't been used, so they're much nicely painted. They look a fair bit better, but yeah, they've never been bent down. So obviously that's just a little bit for the auto. So the cable runs across here and down there, and then they fold over and clamp it so it doesn't move. Yeah, I just find that stuff's kind of interesting. Extra little things that get done for different models or whatever. Made some progress with the engine. Got wiring connected, radiator in. Yeah, so most of that's pretty done. Sorting out some battery stuff like that, blah, 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 whatever. Cool stuff, you know. No, but I've got that. That one needs to plug in. But that's all plugged in. And I've got out here a couple little pieces of the engine bay, so that painted up black. And then the battery puller thing and the stick for the hood. So it's all looking pretty nice. So engine's kind of all in and whatnot, kind of ready to go, put fluids in soon. But first of all, I kind of want to just tackle this tonight. If I can get that in tonight, I'll be stoked. So that's the one thing I'm really not looking forward to doing. So I think it's time to just do it. So check in later, huh? Just in case. Ooh! What? Oh my god! What's that? Clutch pedal? Oh, hello, governor. Wow, look at that. Amazing.